Okay, so sync. You see, Dante is not sharing with me the same information of how long is a second. Why? Well, let's open Dante controller and try to get more information. This is part of the training course. I'm not taking a detour, because those are the typical problems that you are facing day by day. You have a Dante network, you have a Ravenna card or SoundGrid or anything. So it means that you have to deal with multiple sample rate, maybe, and multiple clock, for sure. In a live environment, in a festival environment, that happens every day, guaranteed. So if you get to the clock status of the Dante, which is a very simple network made by the PRODIGY MP card, the Dante card, and the Dante Virtual Sound card of my MacBook Pro. And the leader, guess what, is my PRODIGY card. But you see that there's no enable sync to external. There's no need to prefer leader. So how long is a second for the Dante domain is decided by the card inside of the PRODIGY, not by the PRODIGY. Right? So the card is deciding how long is a second and is the leader, because it's not politically correct to say clock, master and slave. They told us one day, you cannot use that any longer. Oh, sorry. Okay, now we have leader and follower, which sounds more like a social thing rather than an audio clock thing, but it's okay. We get the meaning. And then the follower is the MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Pro, Dante Virtual Sound card, is getting the information of how long is a second from the other device, via the network, via the connection of Dante, which is actually wrong. I'm not in an agreement with Audinet, which are diseducating people, calling that clock status. They should say PTP status. This is not a clock. This is a precision time protocol, which implies the information of how long is a second. If you constantly know what the time is now, you also know how long is a second. Just get the difference between 1 second and the other, and you get that information. But the PTP is not deciding how long is a second. It's deciding continuously what the time is now. And as a side effect, you have the information of how long is a second. So you can extract the idea of a word clock out of a PTP. You can do the other way around. So the PTP information is much richer information. It's much more than how long is a second. It's what the time is now. And not just the time, but also date of the year. Date, year, month, minute, seconds, frame, and beyond. Okay, so the leader in terms of PTP and clock is the PRODIGY Dante card inside of the PRODIGY. So why the PRODIGY is not happy and is complaining about that it's blinking? Who wants to reply? Easy. It's in front of you, the answer. The clock master is the Ravenna card, which is deciding how long is a second. There's another guy, the other card, which is deciding how long is a second. And they are not in an agreement with that. Therefore, either or, one or the other. So if I'm inverting the situation and I'm setting and forcing the Dante to be the clock master, guess what? This will become blue, and this will, in a while, start complaining about the fact that, I don't care. I'm not in agreement with you about how long is a second, therefore I'm start flashing it. I'm connected, but I'm not synchronous. I'm not in an agreement with you about the information of how long is a second. So this is absolutely a real situation. How we can get rid of the problem? We have a bunch of different options. It depends on what you want to do and what you can do. So if you are the system designer and you can decide how to distribute the clock, I would say, okay, if it's important for you to stay synchronous with Milan for the overall transmission or whatever, let the priority auto mode decide which is the work clock, which is another extremely powerful feature of the PRODIGY series. This is true for both the MC and the MP. If you do not stick one of those manual buttons or push one of those manual buttons, the algorithm will decide and give the chance to become the clock master to the signal, which is in priority position number 1. If that is valuable and is providing me a clock information, which is in real time measured here by the FPGA, 47999.94. It's not really a 48 kilohertz. Well, don't get fooled. All the other manufacturers are not showing anything after the comma. But we are German. Well, they are German. I'm a kind of German when I'm working for Dante. So this is the real measurement, real-time measurement done from the FPGA. So you shouldn't bother about the .94 as long as you have something which is close to 48. And all the other manufacturers are rounding up. So you would see here 48,000. But even if you have 48,001, it's fine anyway, as long as you stay within the 10% of the nominal 48 kilohertz, it's fine, right? Or at least, it's not the best, but it's fine. Let's say you will not hear the glitch, but the audio quality, then we can talk about the audio quality, but that's a different thing. So how can we solve the problem here? What if I want to stay synchronous with the Ravenna card and extract the clock information from the Ravenna card in order to have the possibility to exchange audio back and forth, the Ravenna card and the Prodigy bit matrix in a synchronous way? I need to set the clock from the Ravenna card. So then I have a problem with the Dante. So I have two options here. Or I inform the Dante card, get the clock information from the Prodigy, use that clock information to tick your watch and to decide what the time is now. But the pace of the time is given by the information of how long is a second, which you are getting from the Prodigy. So I go to the Dante controller, I tick this enable syncs to external, Dante is making up his mind, and then guess what? It stopped flashing. Wow. Now I have the Ravenna card and the Dante card, which are synchronous, because they share the same idea of how long is a second. If you don't do that, you're in trouble. Careful, extremely careful when you are changing those things. Always use your mind. If the Dante card is now waiting for a clock information from the Prodigy, right? It seems that you tell me how long is a second, which is not true the other way around. So it's very clear that I'm waiting for you that information. So you forget about the fact that you tick that sync to external, and then you want to change my mind, your mind, and say, you know what? Now I changed my mind. I want to set the Dante as a clock master, and and I'm activating the sample rate converter there. Oh, here you have a big problem. And then all of a sudden you can see that the clock is going crazy. Can you tell me why? Because Dante is waiting for you to tell him how long is a second. Prodigy is waiting for Dante to tell the Prodigy how long is a second. So I'm waiting for you, you are waiting for me, and all of a sudden, as soon as the temperature will change by a fraction of a degree or something, you will see that you can start having whoo, and the workload goes down to 20 hertz or 20 kilohertz or maybe going up, because I'm waiting, you're waiting, I'm waiting, you're waiting. So it's the typical shoot yourself in the foot. Don't do it. So you can select the Dante as a clock master only when the Dante card has this one not flagged. This is a safe condition. So Dante is deciding how long is a second. The Prodigy is getting that information as a word clock reference. Since Ravenna is not happy with that, I simply activated the fast sample rate conversion. Whatever is not synchronous goes through at that bidirectional sample rate conversion, which at that point not only converts the clock, reclock the information, but also converts the sample rate in case the sample rate is different. So at that point, the Ravenna can run at 96 or 192 or 44.1, who cares? The sample rate converter is activated. While it matters, if the sample rate converter is off, there's no hope that it can stop flashing. Actually, there's a way to do it, but then it's going to be much more complicated. I go to the Prodigy Ravenna card inside, and I said, instead of getting the clock from the PTP, getting the clock from the external. So the external information is exactly the same of sync to external in the Dante domain, is exactly the same, and then it will stop flashing because now it's Ravenna which is accepting about how long is a second from the Prodigy. But Ravenna, and this is an important thing, listen to me carefully. Is the Ravenna card aware about who is the real clock master? No. Ravenna is just waiting from the Prodigy the information. Then, if the Prodigy is getting the information from internal, Dante, a MADI input, a word clock input, it's not your business. I'm going to tell you how long is a second. Who is telling me how long is a second? It's not your problem. And that's another important feature of the Prodigy MP. Today, we are talking about live environment, typical workflow for a festival where the Prodigy is used in front of house or something. So someone is asking me, would you use the Prodigy as a clock master for the entire thing? Yes. And if it's not really the clock master, it should be at least the work clock distributor for all the other things. Because whatever happens in the priority and in the automated things, everybody else connected to the Prodigy will follow the decision of the Prodigy. So we stay all together no matter what. We stick together no matter what is happening on the clock decision. So if you are getting the Prodigy work clock output and you get the stable 48 kilohertz, you don't care if that 48 kilohertz is decided by Dante, Ravenna, work clock in, a work clock generator, or whatever. You still get your 48 kilohertz. And since you have to exchange synchronous data back and forth with me, as long as you get the clock reference from me, you're good. Right? So you might have a problem only the minute that you lose the clock information from me. But as long as you keep the clock information up and running, it's not your business to understand if I'm really deciding how long is a second, if someone's telling me constantly how long is a second. So the Prodigy is also intrinsically the best work clock distribution because whatever decision it takes in terms of clock redundancy is then broadcasted, let's say, although you are a live guy, towards all the devices connected.